Hey guys, welcome back for another video. We got a good one prepared today. What we'll be doing is we'll be looking at all of our NFL games for Week 12 of the 2024 NFL football season. This is our quick picks. We're going to quickly run through every single matchup, break down the teams, and try to predict the outcome. Who's going to win, lose, what the final score will be. We'll also touch on the best bets, the money lines, the spreads, the over-unders. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Every week we go over every single NFL game. We also do the same thing for every college football game as well, the top 25, the non-top 25 ones. If you're a football fan, if you're a college football fan, NFL fan, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe so you can follow along with us this season. But let's go ahead and get started running through these games. We got a lot of good ones. There's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of guys coming back to play. Kicking things off Sunday morning at 1 p.m. on Fox, the 8-2 Minnesota Vikings versus the 4-6 Chicago Bears. Right now the Vikings 59% chance to win this game, 3-point favorites. The over-under here is 39.5. The Vikings offense is kind of sputtered the last few weeks, but it's still playing much improved over last season. Sam Darnold, a couple turnovers the last few games, but overall having a really good start to the 2024 season, closing in on 2,400 yards, 19 touchdowns, 10 picks. He's got to keep the turnovers down right now. They're averaging 24.4, giving up 17 points a game. Still one of the best rounded teams, one of the best rush defenses in the NFL, only giving up 74.4 yards per game. Chicago, they're averaging 19.4. They're giving up 18.7. They have a top 10 national defense, but the biggest issue for them is getting their offense to punch the ball in the red zone. The offensive line has to step up. They have to buy Caleb Williams some time, but he also needs to get rid of the ball. They do have a lot of playmakers. Swift, Odunze, Moore, get the ball out, hold the line up, establish the run game at the line of scrimmage. For Minnesota, Jones, quite possibly the best wide receiver in the NFL, Jefferson. I have Minnesota getting things back on track here, continuing to play, winning this one 22-17, but Chicago is one of those teams that is due for a win at some point. I just don't have it coming this week. And the next game we're going to look at 1 p.m. on Fox, 9-1 Detroit Lions versus 5-6 Colts. Right now the Lions have a 73.4% chance to win this game. They are 7.5-point favorites. The over-under here is 50.5. For the Lions, they're averaging 33.6. They might be the best team in the NFL by a long shot right now. They average 33.6. They throw for 243. They run for 152. They're only giving up 17.7 points a game with their best defensive player out. Only 94 yards given up on the ground. Goff is lighting things up, getting back to 2023 form. And for the Colts, they average 21.5. They gave up 22.7. They're going to be rolling with Richardson, who actually had a pretty good game this past weekend. Overall, though, still very inaccurate with the ball. For the Lions, Gibbs, Montgomery, St. Brown, multiple weapons, multiple ways they can beat you. Throwing the ball, running the ball. They can beat you with their defense. I have the Lions continuing the roll. They are due for a loss soon. I just don't have it coming right now. This is a really good team, the best rounded team in the NFL. They win this one 34-20 and continue to put up big points. Then our next matchup on Fox at 1 p.m., 3-7 Dallas Cowboys versus the 7-4 Washington Commanders. Two teams going in completely different directions. The Dallas Cowboys are decimated. They lost Dak for the season. Even with him, they were having issues. Their strength used to be running the ball, their O-line, their defense. All three of those things very bad this season. They're actually their weaknesses. Right now, the Commanders, 77% chance to win this game, 10.5-point favorites. Over-unders 45 points. Dallas, they only come into this game. They're only averaging 18.7 points a game and giving up 29.3 points per game. That is atrocious. Second worst statistical defense in the NFL. They're only running for 81 yards. That's really bad. Dowdle not at all controlling the ground game. For Washington, they're averaging 28 points a game, throwing for 219, running for 148, giving up 22.1. They have Daniels. He might be the rookie of the year this season. They have Brian Robinson Jr., Terry, multiple weapons, and their offense can carry this game, and Dallas can't stop anyone. I have Washington winning this 30-17. And our next matchup is the defending champs at 1 p.m. on CBS. The 9-1 Kansas City Chiefs coming off their first loss to the Bills. We did have them losing to the Bills. They'll be playing the 3-7 Carolina Panthers. Right now, the Chiefs have a 77.4% chance to win this game. They are 11-point favorites. The over-under here is 42.5. They have to get their offense back on track. They live off the turnover. Their defense always gives in the short field. If they don't force turnovers, they have to figure out a way to drive the length of the field. They are averaging 24 points a game, throwing for 227, running for 111, and they're getting a lot of their weapons back. Their offense will be much improved, especially in the ground game, but they're only giving up 19.1 points a game. What's going to carry this team is that defense, that defensive line. They only give up 85 yards rushing. And for the Panthers, they're one of the bottom teams in the NFL, but Bryce Young has recently played better. They're averaging 16.7. They are giving up 31 points a game, which is the worst defense in the NFL. Look for the Chiefs to get that offense clicking here. They win this one 28-13, and they do generate quite a bit of turnovers. And then at 1 p.m. on CBS, 2-8 Tennessee Titans versus 7-4 Houston Texans. Right now, Houston 78.7% chance to win this game, 8.5-point favorites. The over-under is 41.5. Tennessee, they've been playing a little better, a little competitive. Levis, Rudolph, doesn't really matter who plays. They still have issues punching the ball in. They're averaging 17 points a game, giving up 26.3, but they actually only give up 280 yards on the defensive side. It's the fact that they have a lot of turnovers on their own side of the field. They got to keep the turnovers down. And for Houston, they're averaging 23.5. They're giving up 21.5. They did lose Diggs for the season, but Nico Collins should be fully healthy. That's a complete game changer here. He can light things up passing. Stroud should get that passing game back on track. I have the Texans winning this one 24-17. And then at 1 p.m. on CBS, 4-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the 2-8 New York Giants. Right now, Tampa Bay 69.9% chance to win this game, 5.5-point favorites. Over here is 41.5. Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield, the leading NFL passer. He lost Godwin. He lost Evans. Evans should be coming back soon. Godwin's out for the season. That was your two veteran wide receivers. Yet still, they've been able to move the ball. He's closing in on 2,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, 9 picks. They're averaging 27.9, giving up 26.4. They have Irving. Hopefully Evans comes back for the Giants. They're no longer going with Daniel Jones. You just got to rip the Band-Aid off. You have to move forward. Tommy DeVito did light their offense up last season, so maybe he can spark something here. They are only averaging 15.6. They're giving up 22.2. They do have a pretty good defense. Tampa Bay, though, their last couple losses have all been one-possession losses. They're finally due to get over that hurdle. They should have Evans back. I have Tampa Bay winning this one, 26-20. Baker Mayfield continues to put up numbers even without his primary weapons. And then on CBS at 1 p.m., the 3-8 New England Patriots versus the 4-6 Miami Dolphins. Miami with Tua, they're riding a 2-game winning streak. They finally got the offense going. Tua, don't do anything to get a concussion. Don't run the ball. Don't try to tackle people. They have a 67.3% chance to win this game, 7-point favorites. Over here is 46 points. Right now, the Patriots, Drake May, playing better. They're averaging 16.5 points a game, giving up 22.5. But Miami, they're averaging 18.1. That number's a little lower just for those 4 games that Tua didn't play. But we know that their offense can definitely move the ball. Hill, Waddle, Berrios, Beckham, Mostert, option, multiple weapons. One of the best offensive rosters. They are giving up 22.1 points a game. This is a game that you have to watch because the Patriots defense could potentially make this game competitive. But I have Miami continuing to stay hot, slowly chipping their way back to 500. They win this one 28-20.
Hey guys, and the next game that we're going to be looking at, moving on to 4:05 p.m. on CBS, we have the 6-5 Denver Broncos versus the 2-8 Las Vegas Raiders. And let's be honest, the Raiders aren't really necessarily good at anything. The Broncos coming in, they're coming off that massive win. Props to them. Props to Sean Payton. Props to Bo Nix. Sean Payton has been coaching this team right, playing to Bo Nix's strengths. Right now, the Broncos 5.5-point favorites. They have a 55.2% chance to win this game, and the over-under here is 41 points. Right now, Denver, they're averaging 21.4, throwing for 196, running for 116. They're only giving up 16.6 points a game. This is a really good defense. This is a playoff-caliber defense. As long as your defense is playing to this level, it can keep you in any game, keep any game a one-possession game, which will give you a chance to win it in the fourth quarter, and defense travels on the road. Right now for Las Vegas, Minshew, O'Connell, no matter who you put in at the quarterback position, they are still struggling to punch the ball in, especially in the red zone. They're only averaging 18.7 points a game, and they're giving up 28.5 points per game. That's third worst in the NFL, just behind the Dallas Cowboys, who are just behind the Carolina Panthers. Look for the Broncos defense to be able to feast this game. However, the Raiders are on a long losing streak. They are due to get a win, but I have the Broncos pulling this one out in the end, basically due to their defense and the fact that they can run the ball both at the running back position and the quarterback position. The Broncos win this one close, 23-20. And this next matchup is going to be a fun one on Fox at 4:25 p.m. We have the 5-5 San Francisco 49ers versus the 7-3 Green Bay Packers. This game could potentially easily turn into a shootout. Who thought the 49ers would have been 500 almost towards the last third of the season? They have to get things right. They got to get the defense player. They need to score more points. Christian McCaffrey is back. They are slowly getting healthy. Brock Purdy needs to play a little better. Right now, he's closing in on 2,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, 8 picks. And the 49ers are the underdogs. The Packers, 2.5-point favorites. They have a 54.4% chance to win this game. The over-under is 47.5. San Francisco, when they're healthy, probably has the best top-to-bottom roster in the NFL. But that's the key. When they're healthy, they have yet to be healthy this season, but they still have Mason, Jennings, Debo, multiple weapons, multiple ways they can beat you. They're averaging 25 points a game, giving up 22.2. But Green Bay, as long as Love keeps his turnovers down, they're averaging 25 points a game, giving up 21.3. They also have a lot of playmakers. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. They have Jacobs, Reed. But I have the 49ers pulling the upset here, winning this one slightly. It's going to go down to the fourth quarter, final possession. They win it 27-23. Then we're now moving on to our next game Sunday at 4:25 p.m. on Fox. We have the 6-4 Arizona Cardinals versus the 5-5 Seattle Seahawks. Both of these teams are kind of Jekyll Hyde. Props to the Cardinals. They're having a really good season, playing really good on the offensive side, and their defense has been playing better than a lot of people thought it would. Seattle's kind of a wish-washy team. Started out the season 3-0, kind of fell off, but when they're on, they can throw the ball. When they're off, they have a lot of turnovers. Which version of the Seattle Seahawks shows up this week? Right now, Seattle, 1-point favorites. The over-under is 47.5. This game is basically a 50-50. It's a pick-em. They have a 45.9% chance to win this game. The fans actually think the Cardinals pull it out, 53.7%. Right now, the Cardinals are averaging 23.8 points a game. They have Kyler Murray, who's having a really good season. He can throw the ball, but it's his legs that make the difference. He can extend plays while keeping his eyes down the field. He has Marvin Harrison Jr., he has James Conner. They're giving up 22 points a game. Their pass rush has been doing really good for the last 3 to 4 games. Can they keep that up? Seattle, can Geno Smith actually play a clean game? Right now, they're averaging 23 points a game, giving up 23.8. Geno Smith, though, he has 11 touchdowns. He has 11 picks. Which version shows up? Does he get the touchdowns this week? Does he have a bad game and throw some picks this week? Play a clean game, and you can definitely beat the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have the weapons. To me, they are the hotter team. They are the more consistent team. I have Arizona getting the upset here, winning this one 28-24, but it's going to be a close, fun one. And then our second to last game, but our final Sunday night game we have coming up at the very end of the night at 8:20 p.m. on NBC. The 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles playing really good this season. They've been playing clean football. What plagued them since the second half of last season was turnovers. For probably the last 6-7 games, they've been playing turnover, clean football, and their defense has been playing at a playoff caliber level. They've been playing the 5-5 LA Rams. Don't sleep on the Rams. The Rams are much better than their 5-5 record because they had a lot of their starters out so far this season. When they're healthy, Atwell, Williams, Nakua, Cooper Kupp, multiple weapons with the veteran Stafford to be able to distribute the ball. This game could go either way. Could be a shootout easily, but right now the Eagles 3-point favorites. The over-under here is 49.5. The Eagles average 25.7. The number one rushing team in the NFL. They run for 181 yards. They're only giving up 17.9. The Rams can keep up with them offensively. They're averaging 21.3, giving up 23.9. I could see this game going down to the very end of the fourth quarter. I can see a world where the Rams pull the upset. They definitely have the offense, but their defense is lacking, and the Eagles have a loaded offensive roster. They have Hurts, Barkley closing in on 1,200 yards, Brown, Smith. I have the Eagles winning this one closely, 24-21. And we saved the last one for a really good one, our Monday night game on ESPN at 8:15 p.m. The 7-4 Baltimore Ravens versus the 7-3 LA Chargers. The Ravens coming off that loss to the Steelers, and the Chargers are pretty much built just like the Steelers. This is a hardball team. They play special teams, they run the ball, they play defense. The Steelers' defense was able to dominate the Ravens at the line of scrimmage. Can the Chargers do the same thing? Because actually, statistically, it's the Chargers who come into this game with the number one overall defense and point-per-game defense in the NFL. But the Ravens have the offense. They can run the ball. They have Lamar Jackson, who's putting up MVP-caliber numbers. They are 3-point favorites. The over here is 50.5. And the Ravens have a 60.2% chance to win this game. Which version of the Ravens shows up this game? We know they can run the ball. This offense is loaded. They have Lamar Jackson. They have Derrick Henry, 1,200 yards rushing. They have Andrews, Likely, Flowers, multiple weapons. They're averaging 30.4 points a game. That's number 2 in the NFL. They can score, throwing for 253, running for 173, giving up 24.6 points a game. Their biggest issue is their secondary, which is statistically the last in the NFL, the worst secondary in the NFL, giving up 285 yards per game passing, but only 77 yards rushing. You can throw on them, you cannot run on them. And for the Chargers, they have Justin Herbert, who's really starting to get going throwing the ball. They're averaging 22 points a game, giving up 14.5 points a game. Number 1 defense. How do they play this game? Which version of Justin Herbert do we see show up? When you need him to throw, he can throw, but Harbaugh wants to run the ball. He wants to run the ball downhill, and they have J.K. Dobbins. Ladd McConkey's really stepped up the last few games. The Chargers defense can make the difference here. This game's going to be decided at the line of scrimmage, the offensive line of the Ravens versus the defensive line of the Chargers. I have the Chargers pulling the upset, winning this one 24-20. It's their defense that makes the difference fourth quarter. So that's our quick picks for all of our Week 12 NFL matchups. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.